I'm Danny, and this is the Scream Princess podcast. Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Scream Princess podcast. I'm Danny, and I'm here today with the gorgeous Megan Tremethick. How are you?
Oh, hello. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Good.
How are you
Well,
doing?
no, thank you for coming back. And when I say back, the viewers won't know what happened. I had a
Oh,
bit of a
yeah.
mishap, and I actually recorded Megan with Laurie Brewster and Sarah at the Romford Horror Festival, and I backed up all of my footage. You know, I was doing it every day. I was getting my footage, going back to my hotel. I was backing it up onto a drive, and then when I came to edit it, I was like, well, it's not anywhere. And I'd taken them off my phone where I'd been recording because I needed the space on my phone, which is why I'd been backing them up. And it just your files were nowhere. And I went through like deleted stuff to see if it was in
Oh,
deleted stuff.
no.
And like it wasn't showing me any deleted stuff. And I feel like I'll probably record this and then it'll suddenly reappear. But this one's gonna be better because it's you by yourself. So this way I can get everyone on their own. So it kind of works out. You get
Exactly. You get bonus content.
yeah, bonus content. You get to talk about you for the whole time, so that's better,
Oh, God.
better than sharing with your friends.
Mhm.
I'm really, really sorry about that, and thank you so much for agreeing to come back. I'm going to come
Oh,
back.
no, it's all good. These things happen. I've actually been doing lots of editing at the moment for my film Spoiling You, and every time, every day when I start editing again, I get this fear like, oh my God, have I lost footage or have I lost like an editing sequence? Like every day I get the fear, but luckily, touch wood, nothing has happened like that yet.
Yeah,
So
make sure you do touch wood because I don't want this to now
yeah, I really
jinx
have.
you. Don't get jinxed. Oh, it's so good that you edit too. You're literally like a girl of all trades. You do a little bit of everything, which we're going to discuss. And it's
Oh,
very,
thank
very
you.
exciting. So I'm just going to go right back to the start. And I think we kind of knew each other like online because of the Black Country Horror Shorts Festival, which we've both been judges on.
Yeah, I
And
totally forgot about that. Mhm.
well, we've got judging soon. It's coming up soon.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Is it going to be your second year or your third year?
I think it might actually be my third
Is
year.
it your third? So it
Yeah,
must be my fourth. I think I'd just done it the one
nice.
year before you, maybe.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so we knew of each other, and I think there was talk at one point of us all kind of doing a Zoom, all of the judges, and kind of going over it together. But obviously, I mean, I think they've got even more judges now, and it's really hard to kind of get people's diaries to kind of match up on, the same day. And I think that was when there were only three or four judges. Now I think there's about five or six judges, so that would be, even more of a challenge. So it never kind of happened. But we did meet at Romford and
Mhm.
I've got mutual friends. So Cheryl Neve was actually on the show last week. So you're going to be
Oh,
following her.
that's
Um,
so-
so yeah, like I kind of knew of you through your work with her as well. But how did you start? Because you are from way, way down south somewhere was it Cornwall?
yeah, it's Cornwall.
Cornwall. So
Um,
like the most southern kind of part of England. And now you're all the way up in Scotland, which is like a distance.
it is indeed. Yeah, no, for sure. Um, yeah, do you mean like how I got involved with Hex?
Well, no, just how did you like get into the industry to begin with? Well, we'll get to Hex because that's kind of further down the line. But how did you end up in the kind of entertainment as an actress or a writer?
Yeah, I think I first got into, well, first it was acting, and I think it was probably from musical theatre. I've just always loved musicals. I was very, very shy when I was young, painfully shy. And I think just through singing and like performance, I was able to express myself just in ways I wouldn't normally be able to. And then I just kind of got the bug for it that way. And it kind of started through just like school plays, talent show type things. Um, and then I just wanted to do straight theatre after that and do plays. And then when I was about 17, I applied to local student films. There's a really good university in Falmouth, which is where I'm from, called Falmouth Uni. And they have great students there. So I just started applying for student films and just began slowly working my way up.
Mm. And you have any of those students that were making films, have they gone on to kind of continue making films, and have you worked with any of them again?
I haven't worked with any of them again, but they've definitely gone on to do really cool
Right.
things.
It's always
Yeah, like
interesting, isn't it, when you work with people at that kind of like student level to see whether you kind of end up crossing paths again later on. They always say you have to be
yeah,
careful, don't you? You treat people.
yeah,
You
no,
never know
definitely.
who you're going to work with again, especially
Yeah,
in this industry.
for sure. There was one director called Alex Falconer that I think I think his film, his short film, was the first ever film that I was in just as an extra at the time. And it was a great little sci-fi called Synthetica. It looked amazing. And I'm pretty sure he might have done a feature now, like local to Cornwall. I'm pretty sure maybe it was a short, but it looks totally badass. So he's done some really cool stuff. But
That's
yeah,
really cool.
I hope I cross paths with
Yeah.
some of these people again. It's a bit
Yeah.
tricky up in Scotland.
Yeah. Do you travel back and forth a lot? I mean, it is such a long way. And I feel like, I was in London for 16 years and I'm now in the Northeast. So I'm closer probably to you in Scotland than I am to London now. But I don't go back anywhere near as often as I thought I would because it just feels like such a long way. And I know anyone who's listening to this from any other country, because I have a lot of American viewers, and they would literally be like, it's 5 hours in a car, like it's nothing. Because obviously you can be 5 hours in a car and you haven't even left one American state. But for like our kind of English, like small country, like attitudes, we don't really travel anywhere. We're like, it's too far. If you can't get there via the tube, then, it's a long
Yeah,
way.
no, 100%. I'm the exact same. It's even as bad for me as I thought, because I'm about 30-ish minutes on a train away from Edinburgh. And I thought
Mm.
I would go to Edinburgh so much more than I do. When
Yeah,
I was moving up, I was like, oh yeah, I'll probably go every weekend or something and just, go shopping and
yeah,
explore like, museums, art
yeah,
galleries, things. 'Cause there's so much amazing history there.
yeah.
Uh, no, honestly, I can't remember the last time I went to
Edinburgh is one of my favorite cities. I do love it. And I actually I'd never been to Scotland until I think just after lockdown. And then I went with Cheryl actually, and we had like a little kind of road trip. And then
Edinburgh.
obviously when I moved to the Northeast, my boyfriend was still living in the borders. So he's down here now, but I ended up staying with him for a while in Scotland, and we had a there was a car park at a train station near him, and you could park for free for the day, and it was like an hour on the train to Edinburgh. So we did used to do it, but not as often again as we should have really.
Yeah, no, for sure. I
But it's a
think I go to
great city for like inspiration for anything kind of spooky and haunted because it's very old and the buildings look even older than I think they even are. And it's, there's lots of ghost stories and lots of kind of atmosphere. I mean, the graveyards there are just beautiful.
no, 100% very gothic, lots of
Yeah.
gothic spooky history
Yeah,
there.
lots of graveyards, lots of like haunted tours that you can go on,
Mhm.
like the underground vault.
Oh, did you go on the haunted tours?
Yeah.
I haven't done anything like that, but I
Oh,
really want
you
to.
need to. Yeah, I don't know which one we did. We did one where we did go in the vaults. So it was partly in the vaults. And I think it was just one tour. We were only there for a couple of nights. I think it was only one tour. We went in the vaults and then we did go in is it Greyfriars?
Oh,
Greyfriars,
Greyfriars.
great, the graveyard. So we went around the
Mhm.
graveyard and saw Greyfriars Bobby and stuff. So I think it combined the graveyards and the vaults. And then we went to the other graveyard, the one that's kind of further out. Like we did that by ourselves, just for a
Mhm.
wonder. But yeah, you should do the tour. And there's a Frankenstein themed bar as well, which I've been past, but I haven't been into it because we were getting the train, we never like stayed late. Like we haven't stayed overnight in Edinburgh, so we didn't really do bars, but maybe next time.
Yeah, you should definitely go. I've been there because I used to go to the Edinburgh Fringe. I
Right.
did one theatre show a good few years ago, and they do Rocky Horror Picture Show nights there, which is so fun.
That
And
is
if you go dressed in costume, then you get to perform. Like I ended up like singing Columbia's song from the Rocky Horror Picture Show on the bar.
Oh my God. I've only
Which
seen it
was
once,
really,
so I'd love to dress up, but if they told me to perform, I'd be like, I don't know what to do.
oh,
I
you don't
haven't,
have to. I was
I
just
haven't
like,
a
okay.
clue.
But yeah, it's really good fun. It's an awesome bar.
Have you been to, I can't think what its name is, and this is not in Edinburgh now, but the house from Rocky Horror is also used in a lot of the Hammer horror movies. It's
Oh, I
now a
haven't.
hotel, and I can't
Oh,
think of
that.
the name of it.
No, I'm sorry, I've blanked. I
Are
blanked
you
as
blank?
well. But have you been?
Yeah, yeah. So I did a little bit of filming in there once for a vampire thing that never saw the light of day, which is sad. And I have been for lunch a couple of times as well. Because there's a photographer I work with that we used to shoot in a studio. Actually, shot at Bray Studios once, and we went there for lunch afterwards.
Oh,
I can't think what the place is called, but there was a link. So did you see my segue there into like your Hammer look? Because you do have a very like kind of old school classic horror look to you, like rather than like, modern, which I love. I could definitely see you as like a Hammer vampire or Bride of
oh,
Dracula.
thank you. I would love to play a vampire. I feel like we need to both play vampires together in a
Yeah.
film.
Do you know the only times I've been a vampire? There was it was a film called Rock Band versus Vampires, and it just never got out of the edit. Like the filming
No.
was shot, and the editor was just, and the director, he was like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be finished." And I mean, every year it would be, "It's going to be finished, it's going to be finished," and it's just kind of, this is like 10 years later, and it's, I don't think it's ever going to be finished, or the footage is long gone. So that one never happened. And the other time I played a vampire was I was like a hippie vampire, so not like a classic vampire. So I feel like, yeah, we should be classic vampires.
Yeah, no, that needs to happen. Oh, that sucks about that film. It is a real minefield as an actor, is just kind
Yeah.
of vetting projects and just sort of seeing, I guess, is it likely that it might not ever happen? Because I do have a bit of a graveyard of work
Mm.
stuff that just is on IMDb but just never came
Yeah.
out. And it's a shame because they're great films and I would love to see them, but they
Yeah,
just
it's so frustrating. And I think it's a big thing with like obviously independent horror movies because they have the budget to maybe make the film and then the budget's not there to get the edit done. So unless they're a filmmaker who's, been to film school and they can edit themselves and they've got someone who can do their score for them, it's really difficult. Like to obviously, the things they don't think is going to cost a lot of money afterwards and things just don't ever materialize. But I'm the same. I've got a few that have never seen the light of day. Some I'm not really sad about. Some I'm like, okay, that was shot so long ago. I'm probably
yeah,
glad that didn't come out because it probably wasn't going to
they're
be great. But then there's other stuff that people have kind of said, "Do you want to do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, we're filming in April." And then they put you on IMDb and then you never hear from them again. And there's no film and they're still up there, still credits. Some people always say to me, "Oh, you've done this many films." I'm like, half it. Just divide it by, half and you might be closer to, what's actually out there.
Yeah, and then you go to the IMDb police like, please take this off because I didn't do
Yeah,
it. No.
yeah. Sometimes you can, and sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's like have an explanation. I'm like, I gave you an explanation, and the film's never happened. I've never
Yeah.
shot it. It doesn't exist. But yeah,
Indeed.
they don't always take it off. There should be some kind of, I don't know, like limit of, how long something's up there before it actually, gets removed automatically. But I don't know how you would do that.
But no, you're right. There definitely should. It like goes into recycling after a
Yeah,
while or something.
exactly, exactly. Or you have to tick the box if this film actually did come out.
Yeah. An email
Where
gets
can
sent.
we see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
it does happen. So have you always been a horror fan?
Yeah. Even actually, not even just horror movies, but also horror games. Like, I was recently thinking about a horror video game which my dad showed me because my dad he's a huge horror fan, horror and
Yeah.
sci-fi fan as well, very much for British horror as well, and American horror. And yeah, he introduced me to like Amicus Productions' films, and but he also just recommended me this really awesome kind of, I think it's from the 80s, a game called Phantasmagoria, and I used to
Okay.
play that so many times. It's actually quite gory, and it did freak me out when I was a kid. But I would just play that game over and over again, which is pretty weird.
What was it?
Um,
What happened? Is it like board game, not a computer game, or?
it's a computer game, but
Uh,
it because it's I'm pretty sure it was made in the 80s, and it's like live action. It's filmed live action like a film, but
mm,
then they kind of maybe on a green screen or blue screen type
right.
thing, and then they cut out the actors, and then like have like graphics behind them,
Uh-huh.
of this kind of haunted manor, and it's like about this couple, I guess, descending into madness. But it was quite a violent, gory game, but I loved it. So, and I was like, I don't know,
Are you
11 or
quite a
so.
gamer as well then?
I am, yeah. I don't really get as much time to play video games anymore, unfortunately, because I'm so, particularly with editing at the moment, I'm
Mm,
like, okay, put a certain amount of hours in a day, or at least try to get as much done as I can, and then I can play games. But a lot of the time, I feel like I just,
yeah.
it gets the evening and you're like, I'm too tired.
Yeah,
Just
no. I've never been able to do computer games. I've never been able to
really,
grasp them. No, I used to have like this is like years and years and years ago, like a Mega Drive 2. And then I
oh,
think I had a
cool.
play and then I think I had a PlayStation 2, but I feel like I never even completed Sonic the Hedgehog on the Mega Drive years ago. Then when I had my
Uh,
PlayStation 2, I ended up buying, you could get for the PlayStation all the Sonic games and then I used
oh,
to play The Sims because I'm like, well, I can't I get really frustrated. Like I'm not a good person to play certain games with. Like I'm fine with some games, but like if it's Monopoly, then I'll end up like having a tantrum, falling out with people if they make me pay for the hotels and take my money. Um, and like computer games just they just make me cross. Like when my character dies, I'm angry. So The
oh,
Sims I could deal with because it's like you're just decorating the house and it's fine. But yeah, I really haven't played since then. I kind of gave up the whole thing.
oh, no, fair enough. I'm a really anti-social gamer. Like when I play video games, they're usually purely story games, and I'm like, I don't want to play with anyone else. I just want to kind of immerse myself in the story, and but I really should be a bit more of a social gamer, to be honest. I think it would be pretty fun. But yeah,
That's like your relaxed time, isn't it? So then it's like, but you don't want to people when you're chilling out.
yeah, no, it's true. It can be very zen, and I love horror games particularly. I mean, there's all sorts of horror games that I kind of gravitate towards, and they usually aren't multiplayer games. They're usually
Mm.
very story driven, and kind of just yeah, atmospheric and creepy and stuff.
Can you remember Atmosphere? So it was like a video game. Like it was a not like a video game, it was like a video, like a VHS, and you had a board game and then this VHS. Can you remember? I think my friend used to have it. I didn't really have horror stuff when I was little because my parents weren't ever into anything like that.
Oh,
But it
really? So
was
you? Mhm.
no, and it was like you'd put this video in, and you'd as you play the game, you'd play bits of this video, and it had this big scary face.
Yes, yeah,
Do
yeah.
you
Okay,
remember
I haven't
it?
played, but I've seen lots of like videos of that, and that looked so fun. I would have loved that.
Yeah, and I think they had like a few different ones. I think they had like, volume one, two, whatever. I don't know
Yeah.
how far it went, but I remember that being really cool. And it was only when I went to friends' houses that I'd get like get to watch horror stuff or play horror stuff or do horror stuff.
Mhm.
Because we just didn't really have that at home. I think my family were like, one TV in the house, and my dad was always watching football, it felt like. So it was like I had to kind of sit through that. Um, and then yeah, I mean I think the odd horror film, like I remember watching Jaws, and I remember watching Arachnophobia, but it wasn't until I was a little bit older, really, as a teen, I think, that I kind of had I had my own TV basically.
Nice, yeah. No, to be honest, I think it was lucky that I did like because well, I was lucky that my dad was a horror
Mm,
fan and I liked the films that he liked because yeah, it was kind of the same thing, yeah, dad's watching TV in the evening a lot of the time.
yeah.
So it was just
Yeah.
I was just lucky that we had similar tastes.
Mm. I would
Yeah,
prefer that mine had been into horror movies than the football.
I've,
Football and
I've,
Grand Prix, like football I can deal with, but Grand Prix, it's like watching cars go round and round or figures of eight or whatever. It's like not fun.
oh yeah.
It's
No, I
tedious.
just know sports to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really watch them now, but
Mhm.
I feel
I guess you
like,
look for indoctrination, right?
yeah. So what's like the first horror film you really remember watching and thinking, oh my God, I love this?
Oh wow. This is ironic, but I think it probably is actually Vault of Horror, the Amicus film.
Right.
That one that comes to mind because I was just kind of in awe of how like well written it was, like as a British kind of atmospheric horror film, but with still fun elements. like particularly the Tom Baker segment at the end. I always gush about that, but I just think it was so well written, and I loved the twist, and I was just thoroughly gripped. I also have a big love for the Phantasm films, even though they are a bit gorier.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, my dad would not let me watch any gory stuff back then, so I had to like look away at the gory bits. But I still
mm,
loved it for the atmosphere of those films and the story, and I thought it was all just it was quite an unusual like sci-fi like concept with
mm.
these kind of flying balls with like drills inside them drilling into people's heads. It's pretty strange.
How do you feel about obviously like classic horror, like the Hammer, the Amicus era, compared to like
Mm,
now horror? Because obviously the gore, like you're talking about the gore then, which back then would have been really shocking, but now you've got things like the Saw films and like
mhm,
that, like really horrific gore. Like, do you
mhm.
still like stuff like that, or do you think it's too much and they should like tone it down again?
I have really mixed feelings because, for example, one of my favorite horror films is Audition, the 90s J horror film.
Mm,
Might have been in 2000. I can't remember when it was done, but and that is really gory.
mm,
But I feel like it isn't gratuitous. I guess, yeah, I guess I don't always love gratuitous gore, but
mm,
that story is, well, in my opinion, really well written. It's beautifully written. It's really unusual. It's also inspired by a novel, which is it's a really good novel. I've read it. I recommend it. Um, but there's so much character build up before the gore,
yeah.
kind of crescendo. Um, and even there's a lot you don't see, even in this kind of climactic, gory torture scene at the end. And so much of it is through the sound design that amplifies the horror. So if anything, the gore is just like a tiny cherry on top of a giant cake, I guess.
Mm,
So yeah, I can appreciate it with that, but I don't love films that feel gory for the sake of being gory. But like with Saw, like Saw 1, I don't think is that gratuitous. I kind of feel like it's
mm,
quite similar, at least for me, to Audition. There's brilliant character arcs, kind of it's I kind of just feel like it really it feels like a thriller that builds and builds and
mm.
builds to a very gory ending. It feels artistic to me. So I love Saw 1 as well.
Yeah, I think as well though, you have to shock people that little bit more, otherwise you kind of end up it's all the same, like it's all on the same kind of playing field. So I feel like filmmakers tend to think, right, well, I have to go one up, and that's how you end up with this kind of major gore. But then but then we have the resurgence now. We've got the resurgence of the slasher happening again, and they're kind of taking it back down to kind of, comedy deaths and things. So I feel like it's always going to kind of, it's like fashion, isn't it, really? It's going to
Yeah,
keep kind of coming back round, recycling like old styles. But I would love like for, that real old kind of Hammer style to come back.
yeah, no, me too.
Like,
Mhm.
really atmospheric. Because a lot of the time the story is really simple, but it's
Mhm.
like the atmosphere and the costume and I don't know, just everything seems to work perfectly in them.
Yeah, definitely really transports you back into
Mm,
back era. Yeah, I know what you mean about probably filmmakers nowadays very much feel like everything's been done. So they're
mm.
like, okay, and I think of this gory death that has never been done or that gory death. And so I get,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean it is hard because to come up with something that's completely original, and that's why again we have so many remakes. And like I'm not a lover of a remake. I don't mind a reboot where they like. I mean, I've just been to see the new I Know What You Did Last Summer, and it's not an exact remake. They haven't just remade the film, but it's it's the same kind of story. Like some kids did something, someone got killed, and the revenge happens. But I love how they've brought the old characters back, so they still exist in the universe. They're not, they're not kind of discarded.
Yeah. Oh, 1 second. Sorry. I will be right back. There is someone
Okay,
at the door. Sorry.
no worries. I feel like now I just have to sit here and entertain. I used to do this when I worked on the online casino. You just had to talk to the camera for ages on end, because sometimes there'd be no players. And I would literally be 6 in the morning and I'm losing the plot, having a chat with myself. But we do like an A to Z sometimes. But she's back, so I won't have to do an A to Z. It's like just about to.
Very sad.
Yeah, I was just saying, like when I used to present online casino, sometimes there'd be no players. It'd be 6 o'clock in the morning, and you had to keep talking to the camera. So we just like start
Oh,
doing random A to Zs of things and just talking. So I was about to start one, but you saved
oh,
me.
that would have been very impressive though. Like what, A to Z of like horror films? Oh,
I
that'd
would
be
have
very.
gone totally blank. I would have gone totally blank. Around about C, I'd have been like, I can't think of one.
Yeah. Oh no, same. Actually, when people say, "What is your favorite horror film?" Do you ever get annoyed? Because I can't remember. Like one, I have a terrible memory, and two, there are so many horror films that I love for so many different reasons.
I'm
I could
totally going
never.
to ask you this now.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, because it changes on my mood. Like I'll be
Yeah.
like, well, Scream, because Scream was the one that like in my teens, it's like the first one I really remember watching then and thinking, oh my God, I love this. And that was like, the beginning of that whole kind of 90s slasher thing. But then like the original, I mean, it's a mini series. That was the first film I remember watching, first horror in my
So,
cousin's basement. Um,
mhm.
and I was only 8, so that had like, an effect. But then I love The Craft. And then it's like, oh, is it really horror? I guess it is. I don't, so yeah, it depends. There's different ones, but for me, it would be between The Craft and Scream, I think.
Oh, nice. 90s
Yeah.
goth.
Yes. I wasn't a 90s goth though. I wanted to be a Spice Girl and I wanted to be Ginger Spice and my hair was ginger back then.
Oh wow, was it? That's so
Yeah, I used
cool.
to bleach it, dye it red, and it would be bright red, and then the red dye would fade in about 2 washes and I'd be ginger. So yeah, I was going for the
Oh,
Jerry look.
mhm. Oh, please send me a picture.
I will I
That's
will find one. Maybe I can add one to this and show it off.
Yeah, I love 90s goth fashion as well. Actually, I feel very lucky because one of the new films that we're working on at the moment, which actually our Kickstarter is about to launch very, very soon, I get to play a 90s goth girl, and I kind of just feel like I'm living out my dream of getting to wear like because I liked gothic fashion, I liked kind of like emo style when I was young. But one, my parents weren't really as cool with me wearing some of that fashion, and also I just couldn't really pull it off. I was too
I
young.
think you could pull it off. You can pull it off now.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just fun getting to wear it now. I used to love bands like I don't know if you like Evanescence or anything like that. But I used to love Evanescence and Amy Lee's fashion sense.
Mm.
And so yeah, it's fun getting to kind of channel that in a movie.
That's really fun. So although I mean the 90s is a period piece. Like I always think of like things in history, like a period piece is like, a long, long time ago. And the 90s is considered vintage now. So isn't vintage fashion anything over 20 years old? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm vintage. Like I went through fashion phases that are now over 20 years old. Like I remember like 90s fashion, like and wearing so much stuff. And then actually shopping a couple of years ago and it was all the like either pastel colors or the citrus colors and the styles and the shapes of the clothes with lots of little metal O-rings and things that I very much used to wear when I was a teen. And
Oh,
I was
that,
like, but I just wouldn't wear now because I'm not my teenage shape, It's like I'm different. So yeah, I'd be like mutton dressed as 90s lamb.
you
But
would not.
but like that's really fun that you're getting to do like even though it's not like long time ago period, it's like you're getting to do a cool period piece, which is super fun.
Yeah, yeah, no, it is really fun. And when we were filming the part of it we've already filmed, it was actually funny because a lot of the guys that have worked on this film that are actors in it, they're in their really early 20s. Like one of them is 19.
Right.
The other two are 21, 2021. And so we were just trying to make sure they didn't say any like slang, if you know what I mean, that
Yeah,
isn't.
words that didn't exist like lol.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I don't know, yeah, there's so many things, anything that's like abbreviated for phones would not exist. um
Yeah,
what else would
yeah.
exist? Twitter, TikTok,
Yeah,
Facebook. In fact,
yeah,
social
like
media
bro.
didn't exist. Yeah, so many
Mhm.
things. What else? Like people,
Yeah, no,
I
it's
mean,
crazy.
people
So
only
it
really
wasn't long
started
ago,
getting mobile phones
but
in
it's
my last year at
mhm.
school. So that was like the late 90s. And that were like, Nokias.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. We just didn't really involve phones much in our film, just to kind of, like glaze over that. But yeah, I guess it would be Nokia's.
Yeah. The Nokias and then the little flip phones that we used to have, and they were super cute. And then I remember like when
Yeah.
you only had like green screens on phones, you didn't actually have like color. So your only game was Snake, which was just this little black line squiggling around the green screen. And then
Hmm.
when they started with ringtones, and then you could create your own ringtone, or you could download ringtones. Like it's a different world.
Yeah. I mean, like I had a phone more in the early 2000s, I guess, or mid 2000s.
Right.
But yeah, loved Snake.
Yes. It went Nokia's to, and then I think I went to Motorola's, the flip phones, and then I went on to the BlackBerry. And then
Yeah, it's
since
like,
BlackBerry, I've been iPhone, and I've kind of stuck with iPhone for the last, I don't know, however many years. So since BlackBerry, so a while now.
yeah, me too.
I literally just got a new phone, and I haven't changed it over, so I'm still using my old phone, and I've had it for a week. But I'm just like, the whole rigmarole of like switching it all over.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel like
really special.
yeah, I think I might do it tonight.
Do it. I believe in you.
I mean, it's pink and it's new, and I understand that my facing camera on this one's okay. The only reason I've changed it is because my other way facing camera has now got like a little pixel problem. So I was like, oh, well, maybe I should get a new phone because it's due an upgrade. And I just didn't bother because, I'm lazy. I'm lazy and I don't know how to change it over. I'm worried about my passwords and my banking and like, will I be able to access my funds?
Amazing how much is automated nowadays, and even like how many, like, say, pictures and videos you have on your phone, and iPhones can be very difficult to transfer
Yeah.
footage, photos onto new things or backing them up.
Well, I
And
know
like,
my cloud is full, so all of my recent pictures will not transfer. But I'm thinking like most recent stuff that will be on Facebook or somewhere. So like I have access to stuff as long as I don't get deleted.
yeah, no, fair enough. I swear every like week I get an email from like the iPhone cult, like, you need to buy more storage, and I'm like, no.
Yes, I know. It's
And
like, why don't you just give us phones with more storage?
yeah,
It
you
would
can't
not
make
cost, wouldn't cost them anything.
indeed.
So talking about like period pieces, a lot of your work with Amicus, and we'll like in the second half we'll talk more about the Amicus and the Hex stuff, but a lot of
Cool.
it is kind of period, but also like slash fantasy. So how do you like balance historical accuracy with, your story, or do you just because it's like fantasy, can you kind of, use artistic license?
Yeah. I mean, like, for example, with The Reign of Queen Gennara, which is our kind of gritty,
Mm,
somewhat Lovecraftian medieval fantasy film, um, I think Laurie was, it feels like a historical drama, but it very much isn't. I think Laurie and, well, the whole team wanted to create like our own world
yeah.
where full costumes, say, like Queen Gennara's costume is not historically accurate to any. I mean, I don't think any queen has ever looked quite like that. And we didn't really want her to. We wanted her to feel reminiscent of historical eras, like, say, the Tudor
Mhm.
period. Also, the bodice is from the Victorian period as well.
Right.
Skirt could look a little bit Renaissance because it's a
Mm.
Renaissance skirt. Um, we kind of wanted to create a kind of mismatch in a way to create a new fantasy world, to reflect that rather than being true to any particular era too much. So I think, yeah, it's definitely kind of borrowing from different periods of history
Mm.
to kind of slightly uncanny and new look.
So for anyone who hasn't seen it, I would say your look is like if Queen Elizabeth, I can't even say her name, if Queen Elizabeth the First was a goth.
I love it.
That's
Thank you.
that's how I would like describe your character in that because I mean obviously you were like all in black and but you had her kind of really pale face and the hair. So yeah, that's how I
Oh,
think
thank you.
describe that.
Laura, Laura the look for her, and yeah, I'm very impressed. He did a really good job.
Yeah.
And he took inspiration from a portrait of Queen Elizabeth in mourning. I can't remember exactly the name of this portrait or exactly
Right.
like the year. painted, but yeah, he was inspired by, yeah, Queen Elizabeth dressed all in black. Yeah, a few people did say I look like goth Queen Elizabeth.
Hmm.
Another one that I look like goth Padme Amidala a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
I think definitely more Queen Elizabeth.
I mean, you're very regal. It is like the shape of the dress because it kind of is just a very regal shape. So, yeah, I'd
Uh,
say, yeah. Was it comfortable to wear, or were you like trying to get in and out as quickly as you possibly could?
um, well, to be fair, I had such a great time wearing it that I would wear it again in a heartbeat. I was wearing a corset that was laced pretty tight, which I mean, it's one of those things. Of corsets are never exactly super comfortable. It's more
Yeah.
like it's fine for 8 hours. It's not going
Mm.
to be super comfortable. I think the headdress was like that as well. Looked
Mm.
really after a good few hours. And because we were in the amazing Dunfermline Abbey, which we were lucky enough to get
Mm.
for a day, um, everything was like, okay, we have to go and get everything done. We were shooting like 13 pages or something in just one day. Uh, so there wasn't much time to just kind of take breaks. So that was kind of why the
Yeah.
headdress was hard, just because there wasn't really time to take it off. But it was worth it. I'd
Yeah.
do it again.
Yeah, it's like when you have to put it on the second day, you've worn it all day, and then you go to put it on again, and you realize that your ribs are bruised and your head feels bruised from the headdress, and it is difficult. So I do like think, how did these women that had to dress like that day in, day out cope?
Hey, yeah, no,
I
you're
guess
right.
I just guess their bodies got used to being bruised or like stopped bruising because that's what happened to them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure their bodies would have actually altered from having to wear it all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, their ribs must have been. I mean, actually, when you find vintage clothes, like even clothes for, 50 years ago, they were like much smaller waisted. Like people had smaller feet. They were just kind of smaller, but I suppose they still wore corsets and things, or even like girdles and waspies and things. Like, I don't know,
Yeah,
what makes a difference?
no, totally. I've been looking online, trying to find, well, I don't know how, if they are literally vintage or not, but I've been trying to find kind of Victorian dresses, vintage looking
Right.
Victorian, and anything that looks very close to that era, like it was possibly actually made in that era, is
Yeah.
just so, it just never fit me because I'm about 5'8". So it just doesn't fit. My limbs are
Yeah.
too long.
People were really
Oh,
short.
God, we're tiny. So one day I'll probably just have to do reproductions, which is totally
Or just
fine.
add another frill on the bottom because Victorians were frilly. So if you added like, a foot of lace at the bottom, you'd be fine.
Yeah, that's a great. I'm gonna use that.
Well, we're out of time for part one. So I'm gonna see you very shortly back here in part two. And then I want to talk to you about fashion.
Cool. Sounds perfect.
Welcome back to the Scream Princess podcast. Welcome back to part two of this week's Scream Princess podcast with Megan Tremethick. So, trying to think where we were. We were talking about, or we were going to move on into the amicus and the hex thing, but also your fashion. I think we'll keep fashion for a little bit though, because I was so impressed by every outfit I saw you wear at Romford. I'm like, oh my God, look at this dress! Like so original, so vintage. So we'll get there. But you were talking
Thank
about
you.
your lifelong love of classic horror, which was inspired by your dad. Um, so how did you then end up? Obviously, you met Laurie, and he had the British Horror Studio, and he had Hex, and they're kind of separate things, and then they have taken the Amicus name. So how did this all happen?
Yeah. Oh wow. Well, British Horror Studio is still relatively new. When I first met Laurie, it was Hex Studios.
Right.
Um, but now very much Laurie's kind of created more of a community, and so he wanted a new name for it that felt more fitting to the kind of films that we love and that we want to make more of. And as we love, yeah, Hammer films and of course the original Amicus films, yeah, that's why Laurie and Sarah came up with British Horror Studio.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, we first met at the Cannes Film Festival,
Right.
actually. I can't remember how many years ago, but a little while ago. And yeah, we just I think it was at the British Pavilion that we met.
Right.
And yeah, he introduced me to the whole team, and yeah, it was really nice. And then we just didn't speak for a little while. And then auditions were coming about for a fantasy film called Dragon
Mhm.
Knight. It was for a black-clad assassin character that does archery called Jigme. And I'd recently gotten into archery because I went volunteering in Japan for about 3 months, almost. Actually, that was just before I met Laurie in Cannes, ironically. And I practiced, well, I'm terrible, of course, but I learned Kudo, which is a Japanese traditional style of archery.
Right.
I say learn, I mean, I'm an absolute novice, but I really enjoyed it and was very enthusiastic about archery. And so I applied for this character, Jigme, and yeah, I luckily got the part, which was really exciting. And then I shot Dragon Knight with the Hex
Mhm.
team. I came up to Scotland. I was living in Bristol at the time. And yeah, that was my first feature film, kind of being away from home for so long because we were
Right.
filming for about at least. So it's quite a scary but exciting
Mhm.
experience at the time.
Did you feel like it was much, much colder in Scotland than Bristol?
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yes, it was. I remember coming back actually after the first filming block, which was about a month, and just thinking, oh wow, it is so much warmer. I think it
Mhm.
was like almost Christmas at the time, but not
Mhm.
quite. Maybe it was November or something that we finished. I can't remember. But yeah, I just remember, yeah, being like, oh yeah,
It's a
you can
different
do it.
kind of cold, isn't it? It's like
Mhm.
a freeze your bones cold. Like
Yeah,
it's like you can see your breath if you poke your head out of the top of your duvet cold. It's just a different cold in Scotland. I mean, the
definitely.
northeast is pretty cold, but still, there's
Oh
still a
yeah.
difference. Still a couple of degrees difference.
Uh-huh. And yeah, and Dragon Knight, it was mostly location, like outdoor location shoots.
Oh,
So yeah, got well acquainted with the Scottish
yeah.
weather.
I feel like as I've gotten older, I now try and read scripts a little bit harder, and I'm like, which will I be shooting outside? Will I be shooting at night? And if it's any of those things, I'm like, no.
No, that's very true. Luckily, I must say, Hex, they know how to look after their actors, and
Right.
all of their crew for that matter. And that's not me being biased because I've joined the team. The whole team, particularly Sarah Daly, she's very much in charge of
Uh,
the casting, and well, obviously so much more than that. She's co-owner of the studio.
yeah.
But one extra thing that she does as part of the crew, which everyone really appreciates, is that she always manages the most amazing catering and just making sure that everyone is okay. And it's very, very appreciated,
Yeah.
particularly
It's
on
really important and
the
it
days.
make it
Yeah,
makes you want to be there more. And it's like, when you're cold and you're tired and you're hungry, like no one can be their full potential. So when you're kind of looked after, you kind of can give it, an extra 10%.
for sure. And yeah, she does not need to do that, but she does because she's great. And
Mm,
yeah, no, it's really, really appreciated from everybody.
yeah. So what would you say your favorite Hammer film is? I know we've already discussed your favorite Amicus, but what would your favorite Hammer film be?
Ooh, one that I'm biased about is The Gorgon, which I love because the amazing actress that plays the Gorgon really reminds me of my late grandma. And so I just feel a
Oh,
connection to her as the Gorgon.
how do you think
My
your grandma
grandma,
would feel about that? My grandma, the
yeah,
Gorgon. That could be like a comedy show, though, couldn't it? My grandma, the Gorgon.
yeah, no, for sure. Um, just I don't know what it is. It might be something very vaguely to do with the makeup, the eye makeup, because she
Right.
used to do a kind of green, like vintage eye makeup. My granny, that is.
Mm,
But yeah, just something about, and probably the black hair as well. But
yeah.
yeah, the character, I just fondly think of that. I really love, it stars Ingrid Pitt. It's Countess Dracula, if you've
Right.
seen that one.
I haven't seen it, and I feel like we have it. Well, I say we, it's not mine, but when my partner kind of moved his stuff in, there are some of the Ingrid Pitt vampire movies on the shelf, and
Oh,
we just haven't gotten around to them. So because I hadn't watched a lot of the old classic horrors until,
mhm.
the last year or so, and we've been making my like our way through the
Oh
boxes.
wow.
But he grew up watching them. So the thing is,
Mhm.
like we've met and he's like telling me all this stuff about them, and it's stuff that he would think I would know, but I have no clue. So now I'm loving them, but it's weird watching them obviously because I'm watching them obviously years after they were made. I mean, so was he, but he's watched them like 20 years ago. Um,
Uh-huh.
but like you have to get, I think, into that mindset to watch them because obviously acting styles are very different to what they are now. The sets are very different, and I think if you're used to like a huge Hollywood blockbuster, watching something like a film that was made that long ago is going to feel like very kind of disjointed. So
Yeah, John.
when we started watching them one after another, like we watch them most nights now, like I've got into that kind of mode, if that makes sense. So I'm loving them. So they are on the list to watch.
Yeah, no, I love that, and I do love that style of acting just because babe, I just feel like nowadays the style of acting is so muted, and people say that the style of acting is naturalistic, but personally, I don't believe that not showing very much emotion is natural. Like I feel like, do you know what I mean? Like people in a lot of films nowadays, it feels like they hardly express any emotion.
Yeah, I mean, I know we were always taught like don't move, don't blink, but it's like I can't not blink. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
blinking happens. If you tell me not to blink, I'm going to blink. And that was even from like when I'm modeling. Like I always said to the photographer, if I blink once on one picture, you can guarantee I'm going to blink in every picture because in my head I'm thinking about not blinking.
Mhm.
But yeah, and it's like movement, and I get it because obviously it's on camera you can be looking like you're this far apart, but in real life you're standing this close together. So I do get it, but
Mhm.
yeah, no, I see what you're saying. But I think sometimes it's the expressions, but also people spoke differently. People had more clipped
Yeah.
accents. Like now, I think people's dialects come through a lot more, whereas back then actors very rarely were allowed to use their natural dialect. It was like you're an actor, so you must have an RP accent, and everyone sounded
Yeah.
that way. And it would only be like the characters playing the yokels in this dodgy little country pub or something, or the yokels that are meant to be weirdos that would have those accents that obviously are normal for people to have. So I don't know.
That
I
is a
think
good point. Like,
yeah,
oh, yeah, but I do have a fondness for RP. I think it's now because it's not the norm.
yeah.
Now if anything, probably
I
to people considered less cool to
Yeah,
perform
I wish
with.
more people did speak properly. And also, and this is probably going to make me an unpopular person. Well, no, not with my viewers, I don't think. But when you watch the news, like I want to hear a newsreader speak properly. Like I want to, take what they're saying seriously and believe them. And I feel like, and actually presenters as well. A lot of presenters on TV shows. Now you've got people off of all kinds of reality shows now presenting, and it's like, well. I don't really want to watch you. I want to watch somebody who's trained. I want to watch somebody who, actually knows what they're talking about or knows how to do this job properly. So, yeah, I think more people on TV and radio should speak properly.
I love it.
That's now half my viewers gone.
Yes, that's so good. Yeah, like I kind of enjoy as an actor doing both at times, but it was really fun for the Amicus film. Laurie was like, right, we want it to well in our way as a loving tribute to feel like as if Amicus Productions never stopped making
Mm,
films from the 70s. So he's like, right, everybody is learning RP, and not just any RP. It was the specific RP that the actors did in like say
yeah,
Hammer Amicus films in the 60s and 70s, and it was a really fun challenge to watch all of those films again, obviously the rewatch, but
mm.
to just be analyzing their accents and their mannerisms and yeah, I really love the way that British actresses from the 60s and 70s spoke back then, but it is
Yeah.
difficult to
But
kind
I love
of
even if you hear them speak now and they still have that. They
yeah.
still, they still speak properly. Like if you speak to Judy Matheson, she's very well spoken, and you speak to,
Oh,
I like to whose voice I love, and I think everyone loves her voice is Joanna Lumley or Dame Joanna Lumley.
yeah,
Like she's
she has
got
an
the best voice. but she fitted into things
Yeah.
back then, but then she still has the same voice when she fits into things now. So more people could, you know.
Jane Merrow also has an amazing voice
Mm,
in real life as well as in her roles. Yeah, we were lucky enough to get to work with Jane Merrow in The Grip of Terror, the Amicus film,
right.
and she was such a pleasure to meet and work with. And one of the first things that I noticed when I met her was, wow, she has such an amazing voice,
Yeah.
and yeah, she does like her movies, and that's
Because actors did
really
really
cool.
train their voices, you know. I mean, and they still do, but drama schools do, they train you to with voice, but they don't necessarily train your accent as much as they used to. They'll train your breathing and things as opposed to your actual speech patterns and the words you use. But
Yeah, I never actually went to drama school, but you did, didn't you?
I did, but I think it was different. Like, people don't have to. Not everybody comes through a drama school, and that's, totally fine. Like, there is like natural talent with acting, but I think because I came from a modeling background, I didn't want to just be like, oh, right, now I'm going to be an actress. And I wanted people to take me seriously and actually see me as an actress as opposed to, model turned actress or a model who thinks she can act. But it's probably made no difference because I still get cast in roles or have always been cast in roles because of what I look like. But that's what actors get anyway, whether you've been a model or not. You are cast on whether you fit the character, and that's looks, acting ability, all of the things. And sometimes it's less acting ability because if they think you look the part, they can work with you to kind of make you be that part if you're adaptable. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's why it was
No,
important for me to go, and I just wanted to learn. But it's not something that everybody has to do, and it's a luxury because it's expensive, and you have to support yourself while you're there. And I was lucky; I was still modeling, and I could afford, I had a mortgage. I could afford to pay my mortgage and afford to go to school, and I could probably afford to eat ramen, and that was about it. That's all the money I had left
oh,
over. So it was a very skinny year of my life, but but I could keep the roof over my head and stuff. But for most people, you have to go to work. You can't kind of just go to drama school full time and not have anything else, to support yourself with. So
but
yeah.
no, that's amazing that you did that though. Is there a role that you'd like to play that you feel maybe someone wouldn't cast you as because of a look?
Well, I'd like to do something with a lot of prosthetics. So I'd love to be like a kind of a fantasy type creature where I'm just ugly or like a demon or something. So, it'd be more movement and, not necessarily my face or what I look like. So yeah,
Mhm.
I would. And yeah, I mean, I'm open to doing different things. Like, I'm sure you're the same, like we're versatile. I have my general look and people keep casting me to look like me, but I can do other stuff.
So cool. Yeah, creature acting is so much fun.
Yeah.
I won't say which they haven't come out yet, but I've played a few ghosts, and it's really fun. One of them has a very kind of strange, supernatural physicality, and it was really fun, like
Mm.
working with Laurie on deciding like how the ghost might walk. It was almost he almost said it was like a spectral T-Rex that was blind,
Okay, I
and that
really
was
need
what
to
we
see
had.
this now.
Yeah, it's coming out eventually. It's in post,
Amazing.
but
Amazing. I'm going to look at my questions. Oh, are there any
cool.
other directors that have really inspired you? Because I know you write as well and you've done a little bit of directing. So you're doing different things. So who really inspires you? Or who would you
Ooh.
love to work with?
Oh wow. Well, a director that really inspires me is probably Takashi Miike, who directed Audition.
Mm,
Um, and in a way, spoiling you, my feature film that I'm currently working on that I've directed, it's almost finished. I've got a few more days to shoot, and obviously it's in post-production. I'm just trying to work my way through the edit as much as I
mm,
can while I'm waiting to shoot the last few days of the film. But yeah, it's kind of a love letter to J horror and films like Audition. Um, yeah, also there's an yeah, it is just a lot of J horror films actually that I'm very inspired by at the moment. But I do feel actually I don't know who directed this, I will say, but there's an incredible Spanish film that I actually watched very recently called The Coffee Table. I'm not
right?
sure if have you seen that one?
No.
It's excellent. I was so impressed. Uh, it's the concept just it feels so simple, and that is in a good way. It feels
Mm,
like I wish I'd come up with that. That's amazing.
mm,
It was a masterclass on suspense and
right.
tension, almost from the second or third scene of the film, you're like, oh my God, you're hit with a shocking thing. I won't say what it is. And then
Right.
you're just left
I'm going to
tense.
find it. I'm going to dig it out.
Oh, definitely. If you like really, really tense,
Mm.
suspenseful, psychological horror films, then you'll love it. So yeah, that was an amazing Spanish film. Unfortunately, I don't know who directed that one, but they were great.
Well, if they're watching.
Yay.
So how did the British Horror Studio get the Amicus name? Because I know they've like licensed the Amicus name. Is that right? Have I got that right? It's like now they
Yeah,
own the Amicus kind of brand.
yeah. So it's Laurie reached out to the Subotsky family,
Mhm.
and he basically just proved proved how much of a love he had for Amicus, and that he
Mhm.
was a true Amicus fan. And so they listened to that, and they were happy with that. And so he was allowed to license it. It wasn't just that anybody could
Mm.
license it. He had to prove that his intentions were pure, and they were aligned with what the Sabotskis also wanted for the Amicus name.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that's kind of how that happened, and now we just plan to make movies. Ideally, one Amicus film a year would be amazing.
Right.
They might not all be anthologies, just because anthologies are very production heavy. It's almost like
Mm.
doing four feature films within one because of each
Mhm.
segment. Being like a mini feature film, but you just don't get the whole, as you'll know, of course, because you did Video Shop Tales of Terror,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, which
Yeah.
took, I mean, obviously people have real jobs as well, so it's not like a constant thing that people can do every day, but yeah, it took a
Mhm.
long time to kind of come together. But that was different, like filmmakers made the different segments and then the main team kind of wrapped it all up.
Mhm.
So
Oh, cool.
maybe slightly easier because you're not doing, it's not them doing all of the work, but at the same time, then you're waiting on other people. So it's that kind of,
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, we produced every segment of In the Grip of Terror, and
mm,
so I love it. I'm really well. We're all really proud of the film, but
mm,
it did take a long time, and so we are kind of entertaining the idea of perhaps doing just linear narratives as
mm,
well as anthologies. But we still want to do anthologies because
yeah,
obviously that is
that
what
was
Amicus
the amicus
want.
thing. The
That's what
what are
we.
they, portmanteaus?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm kind of excited for the possibility of both.
So you're doing the Amicus films and then the British Horror Studio films, they're like a separate thing. They're like two businesses kind of running side by side.
Yeah, yeah. So we would hope to make one film as Amicus,
Right.
ideally per year. And it's just because there's a very specific style of
Mm,
of an Amicus. Um, and a lot of other films that we as filmmakers want to make at the British Horror Studio wouldn't really fit that mold
yeah.
as well. So I think Laurie and Sarah just find it easier to kind of keep them separate, and to
Yeah.
make wild and unusual horror films under the British Horror Studio banner. And then there is also another company with younger filmmakers that's being supported by the British Horror
Mm,
Studio, and that is called the B Team.
right.
That's a group of young filmmakers, and yeah, we're I've joined them as a producer, and we're currently about to do a Kickstarter campaign
Ah,
for our first feature film.
okay.
I'm excited, and that's called Mr. Whispers, and that was the '90s horror film which
Right.
I was talking to you about earlier.
Okay. So you're producing, but you're producing that one and then you're acting in that one, but you're not directing that one.
Mhm.
But the
I'm
other
not.
one,
No, we have.
right. But are you
Yeah, so
directing any? You've directed something. I know you directed one, didn't you?
so I directed three different short films.
Right. I was gonna say, I thought you directed.
Yeah, I have. I've directed three different short films. They're all going to be a part of another anthology, which is by the British Horror Studio this time,
Right.
called For We Are Many Too. So Laurie and Sarah produced another anthology just called For We Are Many, which that was a few years ago now, and
Right.
so we're working on a sequel. It's very much in post-production at the moment, and so hopefully that'll be released fairly soon because yeah, all of my short films are in there. Um, Yeah, and of course there's Spoiling You, which is my feature film. But yeah, that's in post at the moment.
So have you ever produced, sorry, not produced, have you ever acted and directed at the same time? Or have you always made sure you have a separate director? Or you have done
Yeah,
both together? Yeah. How did
I
that go?
have. Um, it it went well in my first ever short film that I directed. That's a giallo inspired short
Mm.
film, inspired by yeah Italian horror films. That's called Slot. And in that one I play. Well, actually, it was about drama schools, ironically. um, yeah, a girl that's kind of desperate to get into drama school, and she kind of has to go to an audition from hell,
Mhm.
basically. There's elements of yeah Italian horror in there, um, and yeah, it was pretty terrifying doing both at the same time because I'd never directed before. It kind of feels like multitasking to the extreme, and and then on Spoiling You, I think I feel better about it, but I still I th I think it's that when you're just acting is you'll hear that someone will say that was okay, you can move on.
Yeah.
But when you there is no voice to tell you that was okay, we can move on now. There's just silence because you have to be the one
Mhm.
to critique performance. At least I'm very much in the moment at the time when I'm performing, and so I have no idea how I did. So
Yeah.
it can take a bit longer. I have to review every take just to make sure because there's nobody else, there's no one else to do it. But I do enjoy it because at the end of the day, I can give a different performance that, say, a different director wouldn't choose for their edit.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it actually when editing because you get to choose your own takes. You get
Yes.
to how you are perceived as an actor. You get to craft yeah, everything about the film because as you'll know, so much about what makes someone a good actor is how they are perceived in the edit. Because
Mm.
if it's about it, you can butcher a performance, you can make an actor look terrible, or you can make them look
Hmm.
like the best ever.
Yeah,
I mean,
because you might think it's your best performance and the editor might use something completely different. So if you're in charge, you could be like, right, that was the best one.
yeah, for sure. Or even like when to cut to the reaction of another actor to kind of give weight to what each other saying. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I love getting to do that. Obviously, I'm a novice editor, and it's been a real learning curve editing the feature film. But I'm really enjoying it, and yeah, I'm just gonna be
Great that you're
brutal
doing.
with myself
Next,
and
you're
try
going
to
to be
push
doing your
myself.
own scores. Next, you're going to be like learning instruments and pulling off your own scores.
No, no more. Yeah,
Like you can do
like
everything.
yeah. Yeah.
I do.
Oh man.
The thing is, like, especially when you're writing, it's hard to like. I mean, I've written stuff that other people have directed, and then you're a bit like, that's not really how it was
Oh,
written, but you
cool.
have to kind of let that go, you know? So, and I'm a bit of a control freak because
Have you?
you kind of want to do everything.
Uh,
So
Have you
there is.
directed?
I've directed some shorts. So I've directed three shorts that were part of the Horoscopes
Oh,
anthology. So they've been screened at Horror on Sea and Romford, but they haven't been released yet. So there was three. I was with Myco Entertainment, and there was Horoscopes 2, which was Chinese horoscopes, and Horoscopes 3, which was like the dark zodiac. And he basically gave us all a horoscope out of a hat, and each director got one of the 12, and that was basically our brief to work with. So we had that to work with. So I directed those, but the first one I wrote, produced, directed, and acted in, and I acted in a lot. And it was, I was proud of it, but it was such a small cast and crew that it wasn't that difficult to do all of the things. And then the second one, I
uh-huh.
only acted in it a tiny bit. So although I was directing dressed in my costume with prosthetics on my face, I was actually only in it for a little bit. So that was slightly easier. And then the third one I was in again, but again it was like by that time I think I'd kind of gotten a really good relationship going with the DOP who knows exactly what I want, and when I'm on camera he can direct. So it worked.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
think,
that's cool. No, that's really handy. Sorry, yeah.
yeah, and I just think it's important when you're doing everything to have a team that kind of you're all literally on the same page so that people can kind of take over from each other if necessary.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Yeah, I mean, Hex team is a real safety net for me when I'm well, I am learning to direct, and I have a great AD for spoiling you called Kaz Paul, and he's just brilliant. And yeah, what I would do actually is when I was acting, I'd ask him sometimes to count from 10 before calling action. Three, two, one, action, just to give me a bit of extra time to kind of get back in the zone of like
Yeah.
finding the character. Because it can be very easy to snap out, but sometimes
Mhm.
it can be hard to snap in. So yeah, that helped me a lot.
So where can we watch some of your stuff?
Oh wow. I'm like, where can we watch some of my stuff? Um, yeah. Probably the best place would be either on Hex Studios shop, which I'll send you a link to,
Yes.
and also the British Horror Studio has a Patreon, which oh, Laurie's a trooper. He writes big long articles for that almost every day, every other day,
Amazing.
definitely, about all the crazy things that the whole team are up to.
Yeah.
And yeah, we do have some movies for digital download. So
Right.
yeah, people can
People can see
on
some stuff
Patreon.
there. And then will there
Mhm.
be like physical media releases?
Yeah, yeah, we do. We usually operate through Kickstarter,
Right.
and so people, it's almost like a pre-order system. People
Mm.
can pledge on Kickstarter, and they can pledge for beautiful Blu-ray cases
Right.
and things,
Yeah,
and
because for
different.
small companies, like obviously getting all the stock costs a lot of money, and then you don't ever want to be stuck with stock. So it is easier
Mhm.
to do it that way. I do that with like calendars and things like calendars,
Nice.
music. I'll always do it as a pre-order, and then if it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, no, for sure. We do have Blu-rays on the Hex shop as well, but it feels like it's always it's always on the Kickstarter that people
Mm.
tend to buy them. Yeah, like you said, more in bulk.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've got a little it's only mini, it's a mini quick fire round for you here. So
Ooh, okay.
there's only like a few questions in it, so fine. So, favorite final girl in horror history?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Okay. Found footage or haunted house horror?
Both.
Both. You can't have
Okay,
both.
I'll pick haunted house horror, but I really love found footage too.
I would pick haunted house horror.
Okay.
Best soundtrack.
Ah, Candyman. Yeah, Candyman.
Um,
I write.
classic or modern horror.
Oh, classic, definitely.
And best horror remake or reboot.
Uh, oh, uh, I'm sorry, I can't think of a good one. There are, there are loads of good ones,
I'm not
but
generally a fan of a remake,
oh,
but
I feel like my life is preferring the originals of things, and that's
yeah,
all.
no, it's true. I always think if something was good originally, then there's no point remaking it. And if it wasn't
Yeah,
good originally, there's probably also no point remaking it.
it's true. Yeah, I bet there must be some occasions where the remake is better than the original, but none come to
I
mind
can't think
right.
of any. Did you ever see the Craft remake?
No, there was
It
a.
was kind of like, well, it was kind of like a reboot because one of the original characters like pops up in it at the end. So it wasn't like, but there was some bits where they'd literally copied, but they'd copied badly.
Mhm.
So it's like you didn't even do it as good as they did it 20 years ago with less technology.
Oh
So
no, it's like there's no excuse.
no, no, that one really disappointed me. And Hocus Pocus 2 disappointed me. Again, it's not a remake, it was a sequel. But it's like
Oh,
after that long, you should have come back with a good movie. So I'm a little bit scared
yeah, you.
about Practical Magic 2.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, it's
So,
like just don't touch it.
well, they're
I always
filming it
love.
now, and it's due to be released next year. Not a horror, but it's witchy, so it counts. But it
Yeah.
was, I think it was a series of books, and Practical Magic was like based on the first book, and then they just didn't do the others. So Yeah, I mean, I hope it's as good as the first one.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I have a big love for the Evil Dead one, actually. I love, obviously, I love Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead 3. They get crazier and crazier, but I
Yeah.
will always love the first one because to me, it is terrifying. And I love that it's on the verge of, it feels edgy. It feels like it could almost be, it could be humorous, but it's not. Like, it just feels really bold and kind of, yeah, bold and original, and they made it on such a low budget, and it's just
What did
brilliantly
you think
done.
of Ash versus the Evil Dead?
I have not seen it.
Have you not seen? I see. I think I watched that again. I'd seen the Evil Dead films, but I
Mhm.
don't know if I paid full attention. And then I watched that, and I didn't think I'd be that into it, and then I loved it.
Oh, nice. Okay, you recommend?
Yeah, definitely. It's a good binge watch.
Nice. I will
I'm
check
a
it out.
bit of a binge watcher. I hate waiting for a series like a weekly episode. Like I like to watch the whole thing in one go over a weekend with popcorn and maybe a Chinese or something. So
Me too.
yeah,
Actually, a show I recently binged. This is more sci-fi, but it's. Have you seen Severance?
no.
It feels like a drama, a sci-fi, but also a thriller all into one,
Oh,
and there's so much mystery about it. Okay, I recommend it if you like very
okay.
mysterious
Yeah, I
series that are.
do. I do. And I like a crime thriller as well. I'm not all horror. I love like murder mysteries and like actually even like old people murder shows like Murder She Wrote. Like I love stuff like that. Midsummer Murders. I could sit
Mhm.
and watch them all day.
And documentaries, really interesting. Like I've been binging them on Netflix as
I'm not
well.
as into like murder documentaries. I don't really do true crime
Oh,
because
is
I
it a
think
bit?
no, true crime's a bit scary because it really happened. Like I can do like movie crime and like TV show crime where it's fake and somebody just wrote it. But when you know it really happened, that just makes you think there's some sick people out there.
That's true. It to me, it's just really fascinating, but it is very heavy stuff, and sometimes you maybe don't always want to binge it because it can leave you in a bit of a yeah, a
Yeah.
bit of a spiral.
Like we
But
put
it's
something on the other night and I was like, let's not watch this. Like, not before we go to bed. I don't want to watch this.
yeah. No, I'm
I'm
the
like that
same. I
with
do.
books as well, though. Like I don't really read horror because you like I want to get to the end of a film and know the outcome. Whereas with a book, you're probably not going to get to the end of that book, on the first night you start reading it. And if it's
Mhm,
scary, like I don't, I wouldn't want to go to sleep. So I don't really read horror. I do read a little bit of like a crime thriller.
mhm. No, that's fair enough, and that is a good point actually. I am a big Stephen King fangirl, and I'm slowly trying to work my way through all of his books. I've got a big well, I just stack my books on my windowsill because I don't have a bookshelf at the moment.
Bookshelf.
But it's high with a lot of Stephen King. But I know what you mean. Actually, one book I read by Stephen King recently was Pet Cemetery. I'd already seen the movie,
Hmm.
which I really still, and I loved the audiobooks actually when I was a kid. So I also loved horror audiobooks when I was a kid. Um, but yeah, the book really lingered with me. Maybe even in the way of true crime, of it felt very heavy.
Hmm.
Just because he's such a brilliant, but the themes were so incredibly heavy. About obviously grief, loss, death. It almost felt like you got a bit of an existential crisis while reading it. And obviously, yeah, I didn't read sitting, so it kind of lingers
I
with
haven't
you.
read any. I have seen Pet Cemetery, and obviously I've seen it, and I've
Hmm.
seen I've seen other ones, but I haven't read any of his books because they're
Ah,
scary.
well,
Because they're
they are
scary.
very scary. I can vouch for that. Yeah, no, they're great.
So, last few minutes, I want to talk about fashion. So, have you always worn lots of vintage clothes, or is this like, or is it just when you were at premieres and things?
Um, well, I think ever since I was a teenager, really, I used to love going charity shopping, and I
Mm.
think I did see to try and find kind of quirky, unusual vintage
Mm.
things in charity shops. Like I couldn't really afford vintage stores back then, and now I'm still like they can feel very overpriced.
Yeah,
Um,
considering they cost so much more than the thing would originally have cost it.
but,
Like a
oh,
top would have been like 50p because of obviously the exchange rates and what money was then.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It feels like they're being sold for like four times the price. And so my favorite thing is just, and I still do this. I don't do this as much because I just don't have time, and it sucks. But I love going to charity shops and just kind of finding little treasure items.
Yeah,
And I just tend to see one thing, and I'm like, oh wow, I can kind of visualize an interesting or unique or strange outfit to go for that.
yeah,
Sometimes a photo shoot, or sometimes it'll be just for
yeah.
me to. It is really fun. But I like charity shops because they're cheap. So
Yeah,
you
they're
can.
not so much anymore though. Like now they do their homework and they'll look up what something is worth, and it's not always, it used to be like people shopped in charity shops because it was cheap, and now it's like I don't know. I see I like vintage furniture and vintage knickknacks and things. So I always go in and look if there's any vintage crockery, but then I will look at the clothes. And I have found a few good pieces of vintage things in charity shops, but I'm not really good at like really rummaging because obviously if you're in a shop, everything's like the same in all the different sizes. Or a charity shop, it's like all these different fabrics and all these different colors. Like I like the ones, is it the Heart, not the Heart Foundation? There's one of them, maybe it is, where they tend to color code all of their rails, and I like that one. That's my favorite one because then I can just go straight to the green section or the black section or the leopard print section, and that's it.
Uh-huh. Oh,
But,
there are some great shops in Falmouth actually. Whenever I go back to Falmouth in Cornwall, which is yeah, I go about every 6 months. But when I do, I think I come back with a whole suitcase
yeah.
of new clothes.
The only
So
thing I don't like is now I forgot what I was going to say.
it's okay.
Completely gone.
Oh no, we were talking about vintage shopping charity
Vintage
shop.
shopping. Oh, yeah. What I don't like is that the ones that like actually not charity shops, but vintage shops where it's just full of 80s stuff. And it's like the 80s doesn't feel that vintage to me because I was there. Well, for some of it, I was there at the end of it. And it was crap fashion. Like no one wants to wear a shell suit. So yeah, that upsets me. Like I want to find things that are like from the 40s and the 50s and the 70s. I kind of skip the 60s. I'm 40s, 50s, 70s, and that's kind of where I like to style
Yeah,
myself.
no, that's a good point. I wouldn't choose 80s either, but I would in circumstances. I'd like to do that for a film. I feel like it would be really
Yeah,
fun,
for a film. Like
and
when
it
I
would be like
played Paula
the
Valentine in the fair, Ice Cream on the Beach. So before Video Shop, that was kind of 80s. And I went all out with the makeup like pink and blue eyeshadow and like bows in my hair and stuff. I went very 80s in that. And funny enough, I met my boyfriend on Video Shop too, and he was wearing a shell suit jacket. So it's despite not liking 80s fashion, something must have happened there.
it was meant to be.
It was meant to be. To be honest, I didn't really speak to him for a year after we filmed that, so it was like much later that we ended up, together. But still,
Even
that was the first memory of him.
that shell suit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're out of time.